Good morning. As many of you know, my name is Jewelle, and I'm married to Father Justin. Most of you know me from that pretty amazing wedding St. Mark's threw for us about 2 years ago. In addition, you all have learned a little bit about me from the stories in Justin's sermon, and I've had the pleasure of getting to know even more of you from Monday morning musings. But today, I want to share a maybe not so secret fact about me. I am outrageously, undeniably stubborn. It's true. Once I set my mind to something, there's no changing it, no matter how illogical or impossible. Help me out. Is there anyone else here who's a little bit stubborn, maybe? Yeah, thank you. Justin, of course, can confirm my stubbornness, as over the years he's had numerous occasions to experience it. This includes my refusal to go inside, even when I'm literally shaking from the cold because I do not need a jacket, or the time that I balanced 8 IKEA mugs with one hand while attempting to find my keys in my purse with the other hand, because I will open the store by myself. Thank you very much. Stubbornness, like Taylor Swift, has a bad reputation. It reflects an unwillingness to adapt to circumstances and persons around you. Being doggedly determined would be admirable if we weren't so often so, in spite of good sense. It's true, if you really set your mind to it, you can carry all 20 grocery bags at once. But more often than not, you'll smash the bread and break an egg. We perhaps associate stubbornness most often with disagreements. It's probably not difficult to think of two people in a disagreement refusing to see the other's point because they each know that they're right. But surely none of us have ever found ourselves in that situation before. Now, you may not realize this, but I'm actually somewhat of an expert in disagreements, and no, it's not because Justin and I argue all the time. No, I'm actually currently finishing up a dissertation in philosophy on disagreements. And one of the more surprising things that I've learned through my research on disagreement is just how stubbornly we like to hold to our beliefs. But it's not just the stubbornness that has surprised me, but rather our tendency to drive ourselves further and further away from those with whom we disagree. Perhaps you've heard about our polarized political environment on the news lately. This trend of polarization extends far beyond politics. In fact, those of us who study disagreement like to talk about this phenomenon, which unsurprisingly we call belief polarization. There have been a whole bunch of studies that go something like this. You take two individuals on opposite sides of a political, moral, or religious issue, and then you expose them to a whole bunch of evidence that's mixed in character. So some of the evidence supports one side, and some of it supports the other side. You'd imagine that after being exposed to this kind of evidence, people would be a little less certain of their beliefs, right? Well, it turns out that afterwards, just about everybody ends up being even more convinced of their original position than they were when they first started. Now, I need to make one thing clear. Sometimes it's good to be stubborn in your disagreements, because you are right. Many scientists and entrepreneurs have helped the world because they stood firm in their belief against all the disagreement. And if you're expecting a sermon that's going to tell you when you're right and when you're wrong, I'm afraid you're going to be rather disappointed. Instead, in a world where we're not only stubbornly hold to our beliefs, but we also push away others with whom we disagree, it seems our epistle readings today can offer us some wisdom. Our reading from Ephesians commends us to be wise. Be careful then how you live, not as unwise people, but as wise, making the most of time because the days are evil. So here the author of Ephesians is encouraging us to not look foolish. But surely there's a deeper meaning to what Scripture means when it says, don't be unwise. After all, the next verse says, so do not be foolish, but understand what the will of the Lord is. So what is the will of the Lord, and what does it have to do with wisdom?